Hi Robert, this video is to simply answer your question. I'm looking at your photographs, and for people that will be looking at this video without benefit of the photographs, there's residential construction that has cement block with face brick, and it's a home. So I'm going to expect that this home was engineered to last 1,000 years or to contend with extreme weather, tornadoes, could be. You've got a typical 8-inch block, 7 5/8 actual thickness with face brick, and there would certainly be brick ties back to the face brick back to the block. The seams are filled in nicely. There's a lintel at the top of the opening. Robert, here is what I would do. I would order a steel frame, and I would order that steel frame deeper than standard. 5 3/4 is the standard depth for a frame, which will look like this. This is a standard frame depth. I would probably go with something wider. I might be tempted to go with something in the range of 8 3/4, maybe 10-inch, something like that, so that you bring your door and frame out and cover more of that edge of that wall than standard. You could certainly go with that 5 3/4 frame and probably kick it out to lap partially over the face brick, but keep in mind it's just the thickness of brick, backed up on top of block. So I might not want a standard 5 3/4. I might want to cover more of that exterior. I'm not sure if your door is going to swing in or out, and it looks like it is a storage, what will be a storage facility, maybe even a safe room. It's probably not a safe room given the fact that the frame is going in after the fact. Probably storage would be my guess. Your door will likely swing out. So in that event, I would want to bring the door out as far to the exterior face brick as possible, so that when I swung it open, I could make the door go back and go flush or parallel to the wall and not restricting the degree of opening. If it's going to swing in, same concept. But I might be tempted to go with an 8 3/4 frame or deeper. Now, we talked about bolting it to your cement block. It's porous. This is an existing opening. There's no opportunity to go back and saw cut and tooth the frame. And what I mean by that is you've got an opening that's going to look like that. Okay, typical opening. But what I was talking about saw cutting or toothing in, and I'm just making a quick diagram here for you, would be like this, notching out on 3 sides, and then, pardon me, using a T-anchor. You can see why we call it that. It's a corrugated strap. When you tooth that in, you would lay this right in the middle of the course that would be there, so that you would then really pack that back with your block, with your brick. You could probably get away with doing it on the block side only, I would imagine, or the brick side, whatever, however that's going to work. And then getting that between 2 courses and that corrugated profile to this T-anchor is really going to make this last a very long time. We discussed that toothing it back in like this was not going to be possible. You had suggested that you send me the photographs. I might have a better idea. I do. What I would do is, you've got sill and you've got lintel. You said that you can weld. I would order a frame that would be a 1/2 inch smaller on the outside dimension in your width and a 1/4 inch smaller in your height. So if your opening was, you said 48 by 74, an unusually short opening, okay. If it's indeed 48 by 74 and you've measured that in the top, middle, and bottom and you're 48, then your height at both ends is 74 inch. I would order the frame with an outside dimension of 47.5 by 73 3/4. You can literally slide the frame into the opening and have just a 1/4 inch margin that you can shim, get the frame plumb, okay, and then you're ready to attach it. How would I go about attaching it? First of all, I have a background in welding. I would weld that header directly down to your lintel. I would get the opening in place. I'd probably come with some 1x1 heavy, like 1/8 inch steel angle. I would weld it up to the lintel. I'd get my frame put in where I want it. I'd weld right down to that header and secure it that way. Then the question is, how do you do the bottom? Well, there are things called floor anchors, and it's just an L angle that goes in the bottom of the jamb in the back side of the frame itself. But if we were to reverse the floor anchor, it would look like this. So that when you install the jamb, you could then literally shoot it down to the floor, to your sill. That's good. You've got it welded to the header. Then at your jambs, quite frankly, I would order it with 4 holes drilled and countersunk per side. I might have you tell me where your grout lines are so we can match those dimensions, and then you can drill into the grout line, sink your flathead sleeve anchor into it, and if you lose 1 or 2 of them in terms of the block crumbling, not a big deal, because you're welded at the header and you're bolted down to the sill. That's how I would go about doing it. Or even to take that a step further, you could run some 1x1 angle on the exterior brick side at the jambs. You can use Tapcons to go into the face brick, because you can really control that and then weld the face of your frame right to it. Use the tools that you're best with. I happen to work best with a welder, and will always look to use a welder when installing it, because quite frankly, by the time I'm done, I'm not concerned with it coming out, because when you're a welder, you weld it well enough where it doesn't come out. That's how I would go about doing it. There's obviously going to be tons of ways for you to do this, and really only limited by imagination. But looking at this, if it was my home, that's how I would do it. If you have any questions or any follow-up, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you.